Should you be buying a house right now, or should you be waiting until 2024 to make that new home purchase? Well, that is a great question, and today I'm going to be sharing a lot of information with you that should help you make a solid decision on whether you should buy now or you should wait until next year to buy that new house. Hey y'all, my name is Brock, and if you're new to the channel and you want to know everything there is about living in San Antonio, Texas, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and tap that bell icon so that you'll be the first to learn about the current market right here in San Antonio, Texas. Now, I'm getting phone calls, texts, and emails all of the time from folks just like you who are looking to make their move to San Antonio, and I just love when that happens. So whether you're making the move in the next 7 days or the next 70 days, go ahead and send me a text message, give me a phone call, or shoot me over an email. And if you want to get face-to-face on a Zoom call, I would love for that to happen as well. All of my contact information is down below in the description for you, and I can't wait to help you make a smooth move to San Antonio, Texas. Now, there's a lot of real estate agents out there that are saying that you should be buying a house right now because market conditions haven't been better. Well, today I'm going to be sharing a few tidbits of information, including some stuff on the local market here in San Antonio. And hopefully by the end of this video, this information that I'm going to share with you will help kind of shed light on your circumstance and whether or not it's actually a great time for you to be buying. So let's dive on into the first topic that I want to share with you, which is just the current market conditions here in San Antonio, Texas. Now, at the time of this recording, we are in December 1st, so we are right in the middle of all of the holidays. And this time of year, it is very normal for the real estate market across the board in all areas, including San Antonio, to be just a slower time of the year for everybody, right? The holidays bring about a lot of stress, and a lot of folks just decide not to buy a house because that is just a lot more stress on the plate. And why move in the middle of the holidays when you're trying to decorate and visit family and cook Thanksgiving dinner and prep for Christmas and all of the other holidays out there? There's just so much going on. So this time of the year is just a normally slow time of year for folks to not buy or sell a home, right? So right now, if you are looking to sell your house in San Antonio, Texas, unfortunately, that house is going to sit on the market for a while just because there's not as many folks out there buying. However, if you are looking to buy a house, there is very low competition. So typically, if you are looking to buy a house, this is a fantastic time to be going out on the home search and taking your time to really look at the homes that are available out there. Now, during 2021 and 2022, there was just a high number of buyers out there because interest rates were really low. And so a lot of folks didn't get the opportunity to really look at homes. They were doing all sorts of crazy things with waiving appraisals and inspections and going way above list price and all of that madness. It was just pure chaos. But right now, it is a much different buying experience out there, right? There are still a number of folks out there, of course, buying their homes out there, but there are a lot less buyers. So you are actually able to take a lot more time to really look around and negotiate fantastic deals out there. So let's kind of take a look at some market stats here and just kind of see what's going on here locally in San Antonio. So here on the screen, you can kind of see a graph of the month supply. And what is month supply? It really just kind of gives us an idea of how many homes are currently for sale, right? And when they say month supply, right, like you can see here on the low point, this is February of 2022. There was 1.4 months of inventory. Let's actually update this to all of San Antonio. All right, so now that I've got that updated, let's get this going. All right, so here's just a graph of the month supply that we've got out here in the San Antonio market, right? You can see this very low point, May of 2021, that was 1.2 months worth of inventory. So what does that mean? That means if no more homes came to market, and at the pace at that time that homes were selling, if no more came to market, they would sell through every home available for sale in 1.2 months, right? And of course, that was again in 2021 when interest rates were crazy low and competition was very high, right? So of course, there are a lot of people trying to sell their homes, and they were selling very fast during that time. But as you can see from then, interest rates kind of changed things. There was more folks deciding to sell their house because they saw the madness that was in the market. So that kind of came up. And right here in March of 2022, so just a little over a year ago at this point, you see that it jumped up almost double to 2.5 months, right? So you can see that it really peaked out, and right here in October of 2022, this was a kind of a pivotal moment because this is when interest rates peaked last fall. So a little bit over a year ago, interest rates went from like 3 and 4% all the way up to like 6%, and people started freaking out. So people put on the brakes and they didn't want to buy a house, right? And that's fine because who wanted to pay a 6% interest rate when, 4 months ago, you could have had a 3 or 4% interest rate. That was a big difference, and it priced a lot of folks out of the market. Well, homeowners rather, still saw that, and they wanted to put their homes for sale. And so that's why you see like the increase in inventory, because more homeowners were still putting their homes for sale, but less people were buying them. And as you can see, the interest rates kind of came down earlier this year, and it made it a little bit more attractive to buy, right? Instead of it being at like 6 and 7%, it kind of, 7 or 8%, it kind of came back down to like the 5s and 6s. But as we've seen over the last several months, interest rates have crept up all the way up to 8% a couple months ago, and they've since kind of fallen back. I think at the time of this video, at least they're sitting right around 7 to 7.5%. So they're still much higher than the COVID times when that kind of market was happening. But what I'm trying to get at here is today, as of November 2023 is what this data is showing here. There's 4 months of inventory. And what does this mean for you? That means this is still a seller's market by definition, right? So a seller's market is anything less than 6 months of inventory. 6 to 7 months is a neutral market, and anything above 7 months worth of inventory is a buyer's market, right? So we are very much in a seller's market right now because there are more buyers out there than sellers. And so we're seeing that with the data here. But even though it is a seller's market by definition, buyers typically have the upper hand in a lot of the transactions that I've been involved in, as well as a lot of the transactions I've heard from other agents here in the local market, right? And what does that mean? That means that you as a buyer are able to negotiate some fantastic deals both on price and incentives, and sometimes repairs, especially on the existing home sales there. But that is what that is meaning on the month's supply. Well, Brock, how long is it taking to sell these homes? Well, I'm glad you asked. You can see here, again, August of 2021, that was during the COVID times, right? When there was just a market frenzy. It didn't take very long to sell a house then, right? A lot of y'all know that. A lot of y'all experienced that, where you were seeing homes be on the market for 2 or 3 days, and then it was gone the next. Sometimes it would only be like a few hours before a house was gone. But as you can see, it is taking a much longer time rather for homes to sell. And that's just due to less buyers in the market because of the higher interest rates. And we're going to get a little more into the information on the interest rates here in just a moment. But I want to share this number with you right now. Currently, it is about 83 days on market on average for a house to sell. Of course, there are some homes that are selling much faster than 83 days, and there are other homes that are sitting much longer than 83 days. But of course, it all averages out to about 83 days per home, right, to sit on the market. So what I'm trying to get at here is just that you as a buyer have a little bit more time to be looking for a house right now, especially with the holidays here. This number is going to spike up once we have the December numbers come out. So that's just what we're seeing here in the market. Now, let's take a look at the average sales price, right? So even though we had really low interest rates in 21 and 22, and even though we have high interest rates now in 2023, we can see that the prices of homes have actually started going up over the last 3 months. And right now in San Antonio in November of 2023, the average price of a home that's been sold is $360,000 and $360,115, right? So you can see that, what is this, December of 2022. So again, last year in December, in the fall timeframe, interest rates kind of spiked for the first time in a while, up to like 6 and 7%. And that's what kind of caused prices to come down, because people were like, well, I don't want to pay, top dollar with high interest rates. And so they were negotiating prices down. Homeowners, of course, were seeing their homes sit longer on the market. And let's see if we can see that. Let's look at, right? So December of 22, let's look at the days on market for that time. So October, November, December. So December 2022, you can see that homes were starting to sit longer on the market, and therefore sellers of their homes, whether it's a new build or an existing house, were more willing to negotiate on price. And that's why we see the decline in price here, but it's kind of leveled out as interest rates have, kind of leveled off in the high 6s to the low 8% range. But now that interest rates are coming back down again, a little bit at least, these prices are going, steadily going back up. So on the current market as a whole, buyers are experiencing less competition, sellers are experiencing a high level of competition, and prices are starting to not level off, they're coming off of the level off, and they're starting to go up and increase again. So as we see those interest rates go down, I will say that we're most likely going to see more buyers into the marketplace, because a lot of folks that I'm hearing from and talking to are waiting for those interest rates to slow down, right? They want those interest rates to come back down lower so that they can afford more of a house or be more comfortable with a payment at a price that they're comfortable with. So as the interest rates come down, we will for sure see more and more buyers into the market again. And not to mention that the spring market is only a few months away from the time of this video. And so when the spring market comes, of course, we will see more buyers just naturally enter the market, because as spring and summer comes along, we will see a huge demand for buyers, because that is just a normal real estate cycle where we see less sales in the winter and a lot of sales in the summertime. So that is just something to be expecting on the horizon here. So a moment ago, I mentioned something about some interest rates. So what is happening with interest rates in the current market? Well, over the last several months, the Federal Reserve has been working very hard on fighting inflation. And the way they've been doing that is by slowly raising the interest rate for their Federal Reserve by about 0.5% to 1% at a time, right? So that is what has led to the higher interest rates, is the fact that the Federal Reserve has made it more expensive for banks to borrow money, and therefore the banks, of course, have to pass that along to the consumer. And so that has been raising the interest rates very slowly over the last 6 to 8 months, as the Federal Reserve has been fighting inflation, trying to bring that back into control with their tools that they have at their disposal. Now, as they've been fighting the inflation, they've seen that they've been successful. And so over the past 2, maybe 3 times that they've met, they've decided to not raise the Federal Reserve interest rate. And therefore, that is why the interest rates are falling just a little bit, is because the market is seeing that, hey, they're not raising anymore. Inflation numbers are looking good. The economy is looking fantastic. And so they are deciding that, hey, the rates are coming down just a little bit. Now, my thoughts on what would happen in the next several months upcoming is the fact that they're not raising interest rates now. They're feeling pretty confident in the fact that, they're working, like the tools that they're using to fight inflation are working very well. And so I think over the next several months, they're actually going to start maybe looking at lowering the interest rate. Of course, I have no crystal ball, so please do not hold me accountable for that statement. I have no idea what the feds are going to do. I do not control anything they do or say. This is just my genuine opinion on this. And again, it is the fact that I think they will start lowering the interest rate. I don't think it's going to be a significant decrease in the interest rate, but I think it will come down a little bit to make it more appealing and more attractive for folks that have been waiting for interest rates to drop down. And when that happens, I think they're going to be come into more attractive rates, so that folks will actually be out there and more confidently go buy houses. And when this happens, I do think that, of course, more folks are going to be entering the market. So I have no idea, unfortunately, when they're going to be lowering those interest rates. If they lower them in the next few months, I could be totally wrong on that, and that's quite all right. But those are just my thoughts, is that they will be coming down in the near future. If not, I know 2024 is an election year. I'm not getting into any politics here, but election years always have an effect on interest rates and the economy as a whole. So that will play a huge factor into what we see happen in the 2024. Now, this last point I want to talk to you about, as far as should you buy a house now or should you be waiting until 24, is a very important topic for both myself and for you. And I don't think enough people talk about this. So I want to talk about you, right? A lot of agents, like I alluded to at the beginning of the video, are always saying, hey, it's an amazing time to go buy a house. You should buy a house now. Don't wait. Buy it now. Buy, right? Well, unfortunately, not everyone is in a position to buy. So I want to take a look kind of at where you're at in your life and what your goals are, and use that as a determining factor on whether you should be buying a house now or you should be waiting until next year to do so. Well, buying a house is not a very easy task, and it does take some money in the most cases to purchase a house, right? A lot of folks think that you need a 20% down payment in order to purchase a house, but that is not the case. There are a lot of loan types out there where you need a 3.5, or even a 5% down payment in order to purchase that house. Well, if you're looking at those numbers that we looked at earlier, $300,000 will round down for an easy math for me, right? If you're looking at a 5% down payment on a $300,000 house, you need $15,000 just for the down payment. So if you don't have the $15,000 in your bank account right now to buy a house, that's totally fine. You just need to set some goals. And as you slowly work towards those, once you accomplish those goals, then we can have a conversation on buying a house. Another thing you want to look at is, of course, your credit score. If you have less than a 580 credit score, you're not going to qualify for hardly any loans out there. So I would recommend getting your credit score to at least a 580. But if you want some of the better rates that are available from lenders, you want to look at a 620 or higher on your credit score there to really be able to qualify. So if you have bad credit, no credit, you definitely need to make sure to work on that. And if you need some help on getting your credit score, I do have some connections with some amazing credit repair people that can really help you look at your whole credit score history and work towards making that better so it's more attractive and you get a fantastic interest rate, or at least a better interest rate whenever you go out there to get a home loan. Now, another thing you need to consider is just your goals in general, right? Are you looking to move to San Antonio in the next year? Well, obviously you don't want to buy a house in San Antonio if you're not planning to move here for at least another 8 months or 10 months, right? So if you're not moving anytime soon, there's no need to buy a house right now. On the contrary, if you just signed a lease agreement for an apartment or a home or something like that, it's going to be expensive to break it. So maybe you need to wait until that lease is up, or maybe you're almost done and you need to wait a few more months. But regardless, there's a number of life goals and stressors out there that may inhibit you from being able to buy a house right now. And that's quite all right. Now, on the flip side, maybe your lease is about to end and you have money saved up, your credit score is fantastic, and you're ready to buy a house. Well, if that is the case, then definitely go ahead and give me a phone call, shoot me over a text, or send me an email so that we can get the house hunting process started. There's a lot of moving parts and we need to get started sooner rather than later so that we have plenty of time to exceed your timeline and make sure that you have a fantastic deal as well as an amazing house for yourself and your family before you lose the lease or have to pay for a month-to-month lease at the place that you're currently at. So regardless of your current situation, if you would just like to hop onto a Zoom call and talk it over with me, I would love to sit down, ask you several questions, kind of see where you're at and see if it even makes sense for you to be buying a house right now. There's a lot of things to look at that I maybe haven't touched on this video. So if you would like to do that, please go ahead and send me an email or shoot me over a text message. All of my contact information is down below. I would love to get on that Zoom call and just talk to you and see if it even makes sense for you. Of course, there's no strings attached there. So please do not hesitate to reach out to me and I'd be more than happy to do that for you. Well, all right, y'all. I hope that kind of gave you a solid perspective on the current market here in San Antonio, what to expect from the Federal Reserve with the interest rates, as well as gave you a good idea and some things to think about when it comes to your personal goals and personal situation there. Now, if you have questions about anything I shared in this video or any other questions at all, or if you want to take me up on that offer to kind of give you an assessment and see where you're at, please do not hesitate to give me a phone call, shoot me over a text message, send me an email, or set up that Zoom call so we can get face to face. I would love to answer all of your questions regardless of what they're at. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and smash that bell icon so that you'll be the first to learn about the current market here in San Antonio, Texas. Thank you one last time. I hope you have an incredible day and I can't wait to help you make a smooth move to San Antonio.